welcome to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. I'm Juliet the daughter.
And I'm Kevin the dad.
And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there, because as of this recording, it is Mother's Day. Yay! But this album doesn't have anything to do with Mother's Day. Sorry.
No, it does not.
All right.
I wonder, is there a Mother's Day concept album out there? Should there be?
I mean, the only song really that we've covered on the show is Mama by the Spice Girls.
Close enough.
Not a full album. So if you want to hear some Mother's Day related content, go to our Spice Girls episode, I guess, where we talk about one song. But if you want something completely different, today we're talking about the iconic album Heroes by David Bowie. So, Dad, you did the research this time.
I do the research every time.
But I did the research for Let's Dance and Ziggy Stardust.
No, I did the research.
I did the research for Let's Dance when we first did it because I was the Bowie fan.
Okay, I definitely did the research on Ziggy.
Oh, okay.
So,
but thank you for doing the research again.
I out Bowie you 2-1.
Ooh, harsh. All right.
And this is our third Bowie episode, which I think ties him with the Beatles.
Yeah, so far.
So far, we'll see which one of them gets ahead.
So what do we need to know, Dad?
All right. Well, first off, we're not going to do a bio because we've already done one. So for a more in-depth bio of Bowie, check out our Let's Dance podcast. And also, while you're at it, check out our Ziggy Stardust one as well.
Everybody got that?
Thank
you.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is the second album of David Bowie's Berlin Trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
The first album was Low. Mm-hmm. The third was Larger. Now, Heroes was the only one of the three to be completely recorded in Berlin.
Huh.
West Berlin, that is.
Ah.
Yeah, it's the 70s. It's not 1991 yet.
Mm-hmm.
So in 1976, Bowie and pal Iggy Pop had moved to France in order to escape Los Angeles and the drug scene.
Yep.
They both wanted to get clean.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bowie said that he himself was so coked up, he could not even remember recording his Station to Station album in 1975. So take that, Stevie Nicks.
Well, even she remembers the rumor sessions.
So from there, Bowie then moved to Switzerland and finally Berlin, where he said he could move around in anonymity, which he liked because no one really cared who he was.
Or even if they knew, maybe it's just not part of German culture to approach people if you know who they are.
Could be.
Yeah.
So the guys got busy. Low came out in January of 77. Iggy's first solo album, The Idiot, produced by Bowie, came out in March of 77. And then Bowie went on tour with Iggy as Iggy's keyboardist.
Wow.
Just to remain anonymous, just a part of the band.
So Iggy didn't go, and over on the piano, David Bowie!
Who is not going to sing and take away any attention from me. Okay, so Iggy's second album, Lustful Life, came out in August, and Heroes came out in October. So 77 was a busy year. Also along for the ride was Bowie's greatest collaborator, Brian Eno, co-founder of Roxy Music, producer of albums by such notables as Talking Heads and U2.
And Their Destruction.
And...
oh, Talking Heads anyway.
Well, yeah, U2's still around.
Yeah.
And creator of the term ambient music.
Huh.
And speaking of Talking Heads, David Byrne, Bowie, and Eno got on famously. Tina Weymouth said that the three of them would go off in the corner and just geek out, causing Tina to eye roll a lot.
Why, was because of how they were geeking out or what they were geeking out over?
Just the whole thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
And finally, there was producer Tony Visconti, who helmed on all three Berlin albums. Mm-hmm. So Low came out and people were divided. Genius, crap, both.
Where do you fall?
I'd have to go listen to it.
Didn't you listen to it for the podcast?
What, Low?
Oh, Low, sorry. I thought you meant Heroes for a second.
No, this is Low. We're doing this in order.
Yeah, okay. I have to listen to Low as well, yeah.
Yeah. So Bowie was influenced by art rock, experimental music, krautrock, just stuff that was off the beaten path for the average listener. So Bowie decides to push it even further with Heroes. He used the same format as on Low. Side 1 would be conventional tracks, while side 2 would have mostly instrumentals. The same crew that played on Low was on board for Heroes, along with cult guitar legend Robert Fripp from King Crimson.
I've heard that name before and that band name before. Do you have any other stuff?
I have one of their albums.
Oh, okay.
Their first one, In the Court of the Crimson King.
Oh.
So if you ever pick that one, someday we'll get into more.
We probably will. Yeah.
Okay. Now the band the band. The album was recorded at Hansa Studio 2 in West Berlin, which had once been a concert hall used by Gestapo officers back in WW2.
Oh, charming.
The big one.
Ugh.
The studio was only 1,500 feet from the Berlin Wall.
Wow.
Tony Visconti said he'd sit at the desk in the afternoon and see Russian Red Guards looking at them with binoculars, trying to figure out
What are they doing
what
in
are they
there?
doing
Producing their capitalist music.
that we will bootleg. During the recording, Visconti had a 2-track tape machine running at all times because the band would forget ideas they had had earlier and would struggle to recall them. Eno said most of the tracks were done in one take. He also used his oblique strategy cards to help musicians develop the music. He'd created the cards with artist Peter Schmidt to help with creative blocks and encourage lateral thinking. They would say things like, use an old idea, honor that error as a hidden intention, try faking it, work at a different speed, ask your body. I know what you would ask your body, but... Lyrics were not written or recorded until all but Bowie and Visconti departed. Bowie was fascinated by Iggy Pop's ability to improvise lyrics on the spot. So aside from the song Sons of the Silent Age, which was written before the sessions began, that's what he did.
Wow.
He just stepped up to the microphone.
And said whatever.
So if some of the lyrics don't make sense...
That's probably why.
Okay, now Heroes was the first single. Bowie did covers in German, Helden, in French, Heroes, which sounds like heroes.
Heroes.
The song, thank you.
You're welcome.
The song did not chart in the U.S., but it went on to be a crowd favorite. And as a matter of fact, it gained permanent status as a crowd favorite when he played it at Live Aid in 1985. Yep.
Yeah.
The album itself came out on October 14th, 1977, with a great slogan created by RCA.
What?
There's old wave, there's new wave, and there's David Bowie.
Nice. Perfect.
Now, Bowie promoted the crap out of the album, which was something he did not do with Low. But he was just really excited about this album, and he just went out and did whatever he could.
Nice.
So he wound up appearing on the very last episode of the first season of Mark Bolan's TV show. There was no second season, as Bolan died after the episode was filmed.
The curse that was never proved because he only killed 2 people and not 3.
Bowie also went on Bing Crosby's Christmas show.
See our Christmas episode.
Bing died soon after filming wrapped up. Bowie, the Grim Reaper, if it had been a third
time, then maybe.
Third time would have been the curse or the charm, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
Now, Heroes got better reviews than Low did, though there were detractors, because, aren't there always? It did wind up on a lot of best albums of the year lists, sometimes coming in at number 1.
Huh.
John Lennon said when he was making Double Fantasy, he wanted to do something as good as Heroes.
Wow.
Lose the wife and we got something. Bowie ended up going on a world tour from March of 78 to December of 78. Basically, it was kind of like the Low/Heroes tour.
Yeah.
As for the cover, it's a nod to German artist Erich Heckel's paintings Rock'n'Roll, which almost sounds like rock and roll, which is a woodcut. I looked at it online, and it's pretty close. It's a woodcut. And another one called Young Man, which I did not look up. Bowie reused the cover for 2013's album The Next Day.
Yep.
The word Heroes was crossed out, and the white box reading The Next Day was put over Bowie's face.
Yep.
And they decided to go with that album because it was just so iconic. Everyone knew what was being covered up.
And who it was.
Yeah. Now, in addition to the RCA release on CD, it was also re-released on CD in 1991 with extra tracks on Rykodisc. And a straight re-release, again in 1999, on EMI version with no extra tracks.
That's the one I think I listened to on Spotify.
And then again in 2018 by Parlophone, which was one time home of the Beatles.
Yeah, the comedy label at first anyway.
Yep. And the thing with the Parlophone ones was when they came out, they got all this hate mail because apparently they remastered them at the incorrect speed or something, and the company was insisting,
no.
no, this is what they originally were supposed to sound like.
Bull.
And apparently someone got on the horn with Parlophone and said, no.
Change it back.
So there was actually an exchange program where people who had bought the discs were able to
swap them,
turn them in for the correct version.
Well, I hope the correct version was correct enough.
Correct version.
Yeah.
Now, as for me, I have the original RCA CD version, which I think came out maybe in 1984 or 85, where it was like, hey, the CD's been invented. Let's just throw up and throw out everything we possibly have.
Yep.
I believe David Cobb had bought it for me. He was the other receiver. He's a part-time receiver.
At it where?
At Leonard Safety Equipment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he bought it for my birthday. I'm not sure. I know it was some occasion. Could have been Christmas.
Oh, he was the guy who was really into Bowie and Grace Jones, right?
Yeah, no, he was a hardcore Bowie fan. And as such, I am pretty sure I listened to every single Bowie album up to Never Let Me Down because of him. And he did them in chronological order. It was like, okay, we're going to listen to this one. The next day, listen to this one.
Did he have Laughing Gnome?
Yes, he had the early stuff.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes. Yep.
Because Bowie very much wanted to leave that behind.
I'm sure he did, but it's still available out there. And I do have it on cassette.
I'm scared.
It's that, and the other song that Dave had recorded for me was When I'm 5.
Oh, the one that Robin Frog, they want him to sing on The Muppet Show?
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a segment where Robin's, I think it's his birthday, so Kermit says to him, you will sing I Am 5, and Robin goes, no, I will sing They Call the Wind Mariah. So there was a big fight.
That could be a different one. This is When I'm 5 as opposed to I Am 5.
Oh, okay.
Could be. Because he talks about he's going to marry his mother and some other stuff.
Anyway.
He's 5. Anyway, let's jump into this album, shall we?
All right, but one question. Do you remember when it first came out?
The album originally?
Yes.
No, I do not. I mean, I was kind of, the only thing I really knew about him at that time was Fame,
yep.
Golden Years, basically whatever was on Top 40.
So when he was still coked out of his mind.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, so.
But also, 1977, I'm 14 years old.
Yeah.
And didn't really have a lot of records back then.
Not yet, anyway.
No, it would take until 1981 when I turned 18
and you
just
were
to
like,
go nuts with buying like every piece of music in sight.
It's like that TikTok. I am an adult, which means I have access to adult money, which means I can waste it on stupid shit like this and not feel bad about it.
Nah.
Yeah. All right, so first track, Beauty and the Beast, not the Disney one. From the start of the album, you could tell that this is going to be a different sound than you're typically used to. And listening to the sound, I can totally understand why Bowie really liked working with Brian Eno. You want to talk about making unique music? Well, this is pretty damn unique. The instruments are distorted, the vocals are distorted, and it works, which makes me think maybe they should have let Brian Eno come in to produce Ricochet on Let's Dance, because it might have worked better. No offense intended at all to Nile Rodgers, though. He did awesome on that album, except for that one song. As for the story, I think I understood it more and more as it went on. The world is falling apart, and if you want to leave, you gotta go now. But the catch is, you have to go with Bowie, and something about him in this song makes you uneasy. But at the same time, you can't say no to the Beauty and the Beast. And I love how Bowie taunts the listener by calling them Liebling and Darling. Darling especially because he draws out the syllables of that word and makes his English accent more pronounced. I mean, it was always present in all of his songs, but this one, he just really hammers it over your head. Where was I? Oh, yes. Listening to this track answered the question I had going into this album. Why not open with Heroes? I think it's because we needed to get accustomed to how this album was going to sound, and Beauty and the Beast was a good stepping stone, a good warm-up act.
Yeah, I mean, geez Louise, what a great song to open an album. It comes in distorted, but Bowie's going to get us through all this in one piece, right?
Yes, in my opinion.
Too sure about it.
Okay.
He kind of sounds as distorted as the music.
But I kind of like it.
He's singing about someone else inside me, and I get the impression that he's both Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Aren't we all, this good versus bad, the eternal struggle.
If you're a Gemini, even more so.
Now, are you that?
I'm a Gemini, yeah.
Okay. And then, he's got those lyrics about, I wanted to believe me, I wanted to be good, I wanted no distractions like every good boy should. Squirrel!
Yes! I was thinking that that too.
And yes, I picked up on that too. The way he sings the word "darling," to me it was like it's just dripping with bitchy sarcasm. Like,
oh yeah,
like he could give a shit.
yeah.
Such a beast.
It's like polite to your face, but will stab you in the back with a knife 1 second later.
And the band sounds great, and just great playing and good production by Tony Visconti. I mean, the guy was on his game. It just has this unique sound. Like, even though Eno's fingerprints are all over it. I mean, you hear this and you know immediately who it is.
Who it is, exactly. All right, next track, Joe the Lion. When I read that title, I was like, all I could think of is that stupid Joe the plumber guy John McCain used to tout during the 2008 presidential campaign. Good God, he never let that die. First thing, ooh, that guitar in the opening, ooh. And you might think I'm crazy, but here's what I thought. It sounds like if Clapton and Van Halen had a baby.
It would be Robert Fripp.
Does that make sense? Like if they had a kid and the kid was starting to learn guitar.
I could buy that.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me. Because at first I was like, "Oh, this is Layla," but then it sounded like the tapping a little bit that Eddie used to do. So I was like, "Okay, it's a combination of two." Okay, I'm gonna be honest because I like to be honest with the listeners. I don't want to deceive them in any way. I have no idea what the song is about, but I can try to piece it together with some context clues in the lyrics. That way my AP language class doesn't go to waste. All right, so from what I gather, Joe the Lion is a Christ-like figure, or at least that's what he believes himself to be, who goes around telling people who they are. But when people say, "Okay, tell me," he just spouts a lot of nonsense. Maybe this song's about people looking for God in the wrong places, or maybe it's just the old Nietzsche adage of God is dead and we have killed him. So of course the people who claim to be God sure as hell ain't. As for Bowie singing, oh boy does he crack on that note. I'm sorry, David, I love you, you know I do, but you did. But he was trying to build up passion, and I think that works, but a little rough.
Could have been intentional.
Yes, I think it could have been intentional, but if I hear it, I'm going to comment on it, no matter who you are, no matter how much I love you. I think this song helps me solidify my thoughts on this album. I don't understand the lyrics, but God, I can't get enough of the sound.
Now, I shall enlighten you.
Okay.
Part of the lyrics refer to performance artist Chris Burden, who really was crucified to a car, a Volkswagen in 1974. There's a picture of it on Wikipedia.
I'm not going to look it up. I don't need to see that. Nah, I'm good.
And what happened was, I guess he invited these people, and they had no idea what was going on. They were just standing in front of this garage door. The garage door opens.
And he's lying there.
Crucified on the hood of the Volkswagen. The car gets driven out, and the driver lets it run for 2 minutes. And I'm thinking, you're lying. Not only do you have nails in your hands, you're lying on the hood, and that car is going to get hot real fast.
Did he die, or did they rush him to the hospital and he was fine?
I bet he had to go to the hospital.
Oh God!
And the lines about the secondhand gun. Burton had an assistant shoot him in the arm in an art gallery.
Burton?
Chris Burton.
Oh, Chris
the same
Burton.
guy.
Sorry.
The Volkswagen
Okay.
guy. Performance art. Strange people doing strange things.
I'm just going to issue
for your entertainment value.
I'm just going to issue a disclaimer. Please don't try any of this at home.
Unless you're a performance artist.
No!
Because I fell down that hole. I'm like, oh my God, what are the people out there? And there's some really unique people out there doing unique things to themselves in unique ways that people will pay to see at the Metropolitan Museum of Art.
I know people like to link art and pain, but you should not suffer for your art. Please don't do it. You need to stay healthy and you need to stay mentally sound if you want to keep creating art. And if you have any illnesses, go to the doctor. And if you have mental health problems, if you can afford to see a therapist, go see a therapist. Try some techniques. But please, we want you here in this world, so please don't do anything that'll cause you harm. We don't want to see that. Please don't. And just know it's okay to ask for help.
Either that or it's, I suffered for my art, now it's your turn.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, as for the rest of the lyrical meaning, you got me. But the lines about nail me to my car and I'll tell you who you are kept reminding me of tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are, also known as you are what you eat. So I'm thinking, you are what you car, or you are what kind of car you have.
Or
Your car is who you are.
Or you are who you nail. And I'm not talking about in the crucifixion way.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know. It could be anything.
Anyway, once again, great music makes up for the dodgy, on-the-spot, off-the-cuff lyrics, which, I got to give him credit for trying to be as cohesive as he possibly could for stuff just spiraling out of his head.
Listen, as part of my theater degree in college, I took an improv class. I was okay at it. I wasn't the best. I can't imagine having to improv a song. There are some groups out there that do it. Whose Line Is It Anyway does it. Keith Munslow plays for an improv group with some of my professors where they do musical improv all the time. It's a real talent, and so if anyone can do it, even semi-well, I applaud them because your brain really has to work fast in order to do that. So kudos to them and kudos to him for being able to put together a decent album just improving the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, next track, Heroes. The title track, which has over 260 million plays on Spotify.
Is that all?
Yeah, seriously, because I remember I was looking at the Fleetwood Mac songs, and no, none of them ever got into the hundreds, but a lot of them were in the 50 millions and the tens of millions. All right, I remember hearing this song for the first time on a Watch Mojo playlist, but I don't remember really absorbing the song until one day I was over at Louise's house, we were hanging out, we were watching The Perks of Being a Wallflower in her room. In that movie, Charlie, Sam, and Patrick are driving through a tunnel with the windows of their truck rolled down. Heroes comes on the radio, but of course being the radio, they don't know what the title of the song is. All they know is they love it. So they blast it and let the music echo through the tunnel while Sam, played by Emma Watson, stands in the back of the truck and lets the wind whip through their hair. Charlie does this as well later in the movie. And I can absolutely see why, because this song would sound awesome echoing through a tunnel, because it has a natural echo to it in the music, and to hear that amped on full volume through a tunnel under a bridge would be epic. But I have to say, this is my first time ever listening to this song all the way through on headphones. And I heard so many things with the instruments I had never heard before, such as little guitar slides in the background, little touches that wove together to make this tapestry. And Bowie's voice is so full of passion, but I wish that the music video matched that passion. Because I love Bowie, but I'm sorry, he's not good at lip syncing in a realistic way. So his face is kind of dead while he's supposed to be screaming these notes. Like, it's just him dressed in black, standing in front of the screen, and his face is kind of like, nah, 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 nah. And then it's just his voice is, like, screaming these passionate notes, and I'm like, dude, put a little more into it.
Mm-hmm.
However, I know he can perform it really well, and there's one performance that I wish I saw. When the Berlin Wall fell, Bowie flew down to the newly reunited Germany and performed Heroes in front of the crowd.
Nice.
Which is perfect because the song is about two people who are in love but are separated by the Berlin Wall and plan wistfully about meeting up and potentially escaping a divided Germany. Bowie said the emotions he felt singing Heroes that night in November were overwhelming and beautiful, and he knew that he'd never be able to have that kind of experience ever again. If I could time travel, I don't know if I'd be able to hear everything over a crowd screaming with jubilation over a reunited Germany, but by God, I'd try to hear everything. And if I could one day have a love as unbreakable as the love in this song, that would be pretty special.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This is the reason you should buy this album.
Yes. 100%.
Or listen to it on Spotify.
Uh-huh.
Or whatever it is you kids do these days.
Mm-hmm.
The single version is horrible because it's only 3 minutes and 35 seconds.
They cut it. It's like a mouse chewed through the
It cuts out entirely the first two verses, and I have the single version also
on the singles album.
Yeah,
we'll get to that when we do the singles collection at some point.
Yeah, and because it just starts in the third verse with swimming like dolphins. Mm-hmm. But here you get all 6 minutes and 7 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Bowie, his singing, I listened to it through headphones and it hit me that he kind of sounds like a cross between Iggy and Lou Reed. And Bowie
I can hear the bit of Lou.
Bowie himself said that the tempo and the rhythm were inspired by the Velvet Underground song, I'm Waiting for the Man. And as soon as I read that, it hit me. I thought, yep, I can totally hear it. Someone needs to do a mashup of I'm Waiting for the Man and Heroes because the flow would be seamless.
Steve, if you're out there, Steve who went to, I met him a couple of times. He was a theater student at URI and he does mashups of songs. So Steve, what are the songs, Dad?
I'm Waiting for the Man and Heroes.
Please do a mashup of those two songs. That would be interesting. Also, side note, I remember when Mike came over and we were talking about music and we were talking about Bowie and Brian Eno and talking about how he hung out with Iggy and Lou and Brian. And I said to Mike, Imagine if Brian Eno tried to produce Lou Reed, and Mike looked at me and said, Lou Reed would be like, who the F is this?
Yeah, he probably would.
Probably wouldn't get along together.
No, he didn't get along with anyone. Where was I? Okay, yep. I think here the reason that heroes is in quotes, and you can't see me doing my air quotes, but I am.
He's doing it.
Is to kind of give it an ironic distance from the couple in the song. I mean, they're not really doing anything brave, though they might think they are. I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of like an us against the world kind of thing where people kind of feel heroic, but it's not like they're saving people from burning buildings or.
Well, also, and it's like, I'm still 21, and I can say this with some self-awareness. When you're in your 20s, you kind of think the world revolves around you a little bit.
And then when you're in your 30s, you're pretty sure it does. No.
That would be great. Wouldn't that be great? But no. Yeah.
Okay, and this little nugget from Wikipedia.
Uh-oh.
Producer Tony Visconti took credit for inspiring the image of the lovers kissing by the wall when he and backing vocalist Antonia Mass embraced in front of Bowie as he looked out of the Hansa studio window. Bowie claimed that the protagonists were based on an anonymous young couple, but Visconti, who was married to Mary Hopkin at the time, contends that Bowie was protecting him and his affair with Mass.
Well, that was nice of him to do. Not gonna throw him under the
Bowie
bus.
confirmed this in 2003, over 2 decades after Visconti and Hopkins' eventual divorce.
I think 2 decades later is a safe amount of time to wait.
And Mary Hopkins, she has a Beatles tie-in because she was signed with Apple and Paul McCartney wrote some stuff for her.
Oh, did he ever marry his mistress, Tony Visconti, or was it just a fun romp?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Well, at least we know one thing. If you're Bowie's friend, he's not gonna snitch.
That's true. This is possibly my favorite Bowie song.
All right, I can see that. Next track, Sons of the Silent Age. Shh.
Okay, next song. Oh.
I feel like Dr. Evil when he's shushing his son. All right. So I don't know if this was because I know the albums, but the chronology I still have to get right in my head. So I don't know if this was before or after Diamond Dogs came out.
Oh, Heroes?
Yes.
Oh, this is after.
This is way after. All right, but
Oh, yeah.
just from listening to this song, you could tell that Bowie still wanted to write a 1984 musical. I don't know if the song is explicitly about 1984, but there's definitely a dystopian vibe where everyone is dead inside and they secretly want more, but they just don't know it because they've been brainwashed. And Bowie here sounds almost like Winston, slowly starting to realize he wants out. And what's the one thing that makes him want out? Yep, a love interest, similar to Juliet in the novel. The other possibility is that Bowie is observing what it's like to live in a divided country where there's almost a physical manifestation of Churchill's Iron Curtain dividing East and West Germany. I think the saddest lyric is, they make love once but dream of more. Just, as if they're only emotionally capable of being able to make love once, and after that it's all just blah because they don't know how to have a repeated success. It's like that line in Chicago where Roxy says, in the bedroom department, my husband was like, it was like he was fixing a carburetor. I love ya, honey, I love ya. Where was I? All right, so sobering for sure, but if this album was put on Diamond Dogs, I think it'd fit the tone of that album perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Now, this song was almost the album title.
That could work, but Heroes is more iconic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lyrically, it's open to interpretation, and theories abound. There's psychotic withdrawal, pacing their rooms like a cell's dimensions, just counting it off and just going around and around. Bowie referencing one of his earliest songs, The Superman, when he said he would fake that he really understood Nietzsche, but, he really didn't. With the lines about, they never die, they just go to sleep one day. And the Nazis. Platforms, blank looks, no books, no more teachers, dirty looks.
Alice?
No. Anyway, this is going to sound weird,
okay,
but listening to this song and just the title and just, like, the lyrics kind of reminds me of, like, Art Deco, if that makes sense. It's like there's something very 1930s about it, and I don't think it would have been out of place in the movie Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
That might have worked.
It's really tough for me to explain, but it's like I hear that song and I just started getting all these Art Deco images in my head for some reason.
I don't see that. I see more dark, dingy stuff, like the 1984 movie with John Hurt, how it's all dingy. That's what I see. You hungry?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Sorry. All right.
Special guest appearance by my stomach. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I don't know if they heard it with the microphone. Anyway, is that it?
I think that's it.
All right. Next track, Blackout. Okay, this is gonna sound odd, but bear with me. I feel like this could be Bowie's attempt to write his own version of China Girl. Potentially. You want to hear more?
Yes.
Okay.
Enlighten me.
Because I want to know, when he says under the Japanese influence, is he referring to a Japanese woman he's seeing? Or drugs that he had imported from Japan? Or maybe just being absorbed with Japanese culture? Or it could be something as simple as drinking too much sake. If it's a woman, then that confirms my theory. If not, if it's some sort of substance, then that makes more sense because he definitely sounds like he's on something that is messing with his mind and is causing him to spout out a long stream of consciousness. And if he's drunk, then it definitely sounds like blackout drunk where you can't remember anything. The song suddenly puts you on edge, and you hope Bowie will be okay by the end of it. The song almost sounds like controlled chaos, in the sense that the subject matter is chaotic, but the music has to be organized for the purposes of we need a song with a beginning, middle, and end, and we need the musicians to know their parts. Not a song I can listen to all the time, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a pretty funky song on here, and you can dance to it. Get me on my feet, indeed. You definitely could. Some people think the Blackout is about the one Bowie had while he was in Berlin and had to be rushed to the hospital.
Ooh.
But he said it was about a power outage, nothing more. And the thing is, the New York City blackout had happened in July of that year, so it's a good possibility. And that lasted for a while. I did some research on that, and that started like about, I think about maybe around 8 o'clock or 9 at night and didn't end until like 8 a.m. the next morning. And people just went riot crazy.
They had a blackout in New York recently.
Yeah, they have
years
them every
ago.
few years.
Yeah.
But this one was just like people just went nuts. It was like the Summer of Sam and
Summer of Sam?
the New York had their own serial killer.
Oh, that doesn't surprise me.
And the mayor came out and blamed Con Edison for the blackout. Con Edison came out and said, "No, it's an act of God." Yeah, really?
Oh, yeah, sure, pal.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
New York was something else.
Oh,
I remember after I watched Taxi, I said, I am never going to complain about the Disneyfication of Times Square again, because if I went to New York in the 70s, I would have been screwed. I'd probably be dead. Oh, man.
Yeah, it was kind of gray and dirty.
Grungy.
Back then. Oh, yeah.
Part of me just wonders how many times, because they're like street fights in that movie, and part of me wonders how much that was just Martin Scorsese seeing that and go, get the camera. Probably most of
probably
it.
a lot. I mean, Mike and I had gone to New York once before Disney got their hands on Times Square. And he's like, hey, let's go to Times Square. I'm like,
No, we're going to die.
he's like, oh, come on, we'll be okay. Like, all right. So, we just kind of stuck together and like walking down the streets and it's like,
Hoping you don't get shivved.
yeah.
God.
It's like, holy crap, that was some scary stuff, but we survived.
And then left immediately.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, back to the album.
So that's side one. Solid songs. They all sound great.
And then side 2 moved
Side
into the
2.
neighborhood.
Hello, I'm side 2.
All right. First track of side 2. V2 Schneider.
Come on, give it more German.
How do I not sound like a Nazi? Oh, God. Schneider. I don't know. I'm
Okay.
not that good with German as I
V2
used
Schneider.
to be. That's better.
Thank you.
All right.
I mean, danke.
All right, now this is where my German gets a little bit better. Reading that this is a tribute to Kraftwerk definitely helps going into this track. Hey, that's easier for me to pronounce. I've only heard one of Kraftwerk's songs, but this definitely sounds more like a Bowie interpretation of something off of one of their albums. Because I don't know if Kraftwerk has saxophones. No. Okay. So if they did, though, I'd like to hear that song. The vocals here are also warmer and don't sound processed or robotic. But as far as instrumentals go, hey, it's pretty good. Definitely better than that camel one from Zenyatta Mondada.
Behind my camel?
Yeah. What's behind the camel?
Poop.
Yep. All right. I don't know if I'd listen to this to have a good time. And even if the song came on, it wouldn't be one that I'd be consciously listening to. It'd be one of the songs you have on in the background while studying or cooking, just as something to keep your brain from wandering off.
Mm-hmm. Well, the title refers to two things. One, the V-2 rocket developed by the Germans during World War II, the big one.
Oh, no.
Its design and engineers played key roles in America's space program. Like, after the war, the U.S. decided...
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
Germans.
you 1,600 scientists, yeah,
You're coming with us.
You're coming to America.
I forgot about that,
You're
yeah.
going to make the rockets. I mean, that just boggled my mind. 1,600 scientists. Yep, you're on our side now.
Mm.
You know, so think Professor Werner von Braun or Professor Werner von Werner from Bob Newhart's rocket scientist routine, which is hilarious.
Oh, really?
Get a chance to listen to it because it's all about the development of
the rocket?
The rocket program. And the thing is, like, this stuff came out in, like, 62 or 63, so this is, like, current event stuff back then.
Oh, gotcha.
And it's hilarious. Schneider refers to Kraftwerk co-founder Florian Schneider, who name-checked Bowie and Iggy in his band's song Trans-Europe Express.
Really?
Which is hilarious because of just the English lyricness about it. I mean, kind of like up there with ABBA's grasp of the English language.
Oh, you can tell it's not their first language?
Definitely not, but it's hilarious.
Gotcha, okay.
And I went on David Bowie's webpage because Florian Schneider had died recently, and they did a nice little tribute talking about how when Bowie met the band when he was in Berlin, and you know, they never collaborated musically. It was just, you know, seeing each other socially,
appreciating
hanging out.
Each other.
Yeah. Basically, that was it.
That collab would have been pretty good, though. I think that would have been fun.
Yeah. I find it to be a pleasant enough sax-driven instrumental, and I could definitely picture this being played in Euro discos.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Next track, "Sense of Doubt." I first heard this song when Bowie played a game on an Irish talk show during the 1990s. The footage is on YouTube. The interviewer asked Bowie if he was like Mick Jagger, where he couldn't remember 70s and the whole decade was just a blur. So Bowie made a good-natured joke, and the interviewer said, "David doesn't know we're going to do this, but we're going to play Guest from the Intro with David Bowie." Bowie did pretty good, and then the host decided to do one of his own, so he did the dum, 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 dum. And Bowie said, "That's fantastic. Shush, I know that one," talking to the audience. "I can't remember the title just now, but I think it's on low." The host asked the audience what the song was, and they all said "Sense of Doubt." Then some guy yelled, "It's on Heroes!" And the host said, "Are we going to have a debate now?" Prompting Bowie to laugh. That sounded more Scottish than Irish. I gotta brush up on my accents. Dang. As for the song, I get what the sense of doubt is. It's when you read something like 1984, and you think, that's never gonna happen in my time. Right?
Oh, we're
past that. I know.
Beyond that.
And when the song starts, it's as if doubt somehow became a musical sound. You hear these sounds of despair, and for a moment you just picture a barren wasteland because they have like the sound of wind blowing for a bit.
Yeah.
And it's just you staring around and realizing it's hopeless. I'd rather listen to Vichu Schneider as opposed to this, but this song does make me curious if this song is best enjoyed while in an altered state of consciousness.
Oh, good for you there. Yeah. Yes, this is the second instrumental. And that 4-note piano motif sounds like something straight out of a horror movie. And so does the rest of the song.
They should have used this in a horror movie. That would have been great.
Some of the ambient sounds remind me of microphones turned on high to try and catch silence, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
It's almost like white noise.
Yeah, Bowie said that he used to do that when his song would end. He would always turn up the last few seconds so he could hear the white noise or the fade out on a track.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is easily the most ominous track on the album. And, I mean, horror movies were definitely making a comeback in the 70s around this time. I mean, Halloween was pretty close by, coming out and what have you. But, yeah, it definitely would not have been out of place in a slasher movie.
All right, next track, Moss Garden. Moss Garden feels like the light at the end of the tunnel, or the doubt being taken away and entering a state of peace, or at the very least, accepting the world around you and finding your own way to escape. I personally think this track could be used for meditation videos on YouTube, or even apps such as Headspace and Calm, because I used that last night when I was trying to get my head calm to go to bed. It is very soothing, and I wonder if people ever fell asleep listening to this, kind of by accident. But I have a theory. Maybe Sense of Doubt and Moss Garden are musical manifestations of Bowie's journey to sobriety. The first song is withdrawal and doubt about whether or not this will work. The second song is him finding stillness and peace in his mind once he's clean, or once he knows how to cope with his addiction. And if these songs do not have any deeper meaning at all, and Bowie just wrote these songs because he wanted to make something pretty, then I'm down with that too.
And I like how I forgot that these that these songs segue right from one into the other, like Sense of Doubt segues into Moss Garden, segues into Neukrong.
Nukon? I think that's what it is.
We'll get to that
Nukon.
one.
Before we get to that. Anyway.
We got Moss Garden.
We already did Moss Garden.
No, I haven't
you haven't done it yet. Sorry.
My 2 cents about moss.
Okay. I see. Have you tried turning it on and off again? I'm here to kick ass and drink milk, and I'm out of milk. We gotta get back to that show. I love Moss.
It is. We're referencing the IT Crowd. It's on Netflix. If you ever get a chance, check it out.
Please, it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
Oh, God. My accents got better that time, by the way.
It's dumb and smart at the same time.
Yes, that's the perfect way to describe it.
Now, when this song first started playing through the headphones, I thought, it is very cold in this moss garden. But then I started looking up pictures of actual moss gardens while listening to this song, and it really works. I found it very calming, actually.
Yeah.
And that's Bowie on playing the koto.
Yep, that's a Japanese instrument, isn't it?
It's a 13-stringed Japanese zither, and it's kind of big. Like, people play it on a stand.
Yeah, I've seen that. I think they had that, when, that episode Data's Day, when Keiko and O'Brien got married. I think they were playing that in the background.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think that koto really makes the song, it kind of gives it a zen feeling. And that is about as far into New Age music as I am willing to go.
All right.
And at the end, it's like, hey, how'd that dog get in the garden?
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah, like, I hope he's not going to defile this moss garden that I worked very hard on making and trying to be very calm.
Well, let's see. Nukon. And we have our third instrumental. The sound of an airplane is our segue this time. According to Wikipedia, Nukon is a district in Berlin. A large portion of the residents at the time when Bowie was recording this were Turkish immigrants, and many have speculated and said that this song is supposed to capture their restlessness, kind of being, I don't want to exactly say expats, but basically being strangers in a strange land. I personally think it's supposed to be, if it's not about that, what I think it's about is Bowie arriving in Berlin and kind of feeling like a fish out of water. I mean, think about it. He lived in London for a long time, then spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, which he called, and I quote, a stain on the backside of humanity. Should have seen Florida. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, California, stain on the backside, so California be America's ass.
Oh, don't say what Florida is.
I think it's pretty obvious.
Okay, well, we're not going to say it out loud. I mean, remember Big Mouth, Anything Goes in Florida when they went to visit Andrew's cousins? Oh, man. So now Bowie's in Berlin with the communist bloc merely a stone throw away. He must not have known how to process this at first, having come from the rock and roll lifestyle, so chances are he was feeling restless at too and wanted to put into music.
So when I was on Wikipedia, I went to the German pronunciation page, and the pronunciation I got out of it, and I'm sure I'm wrong, is Neukrong.
Let me see it. Do you have it written down phonetically?
I wrote it out phonetically.
Neukrong. Apologies to our German listeners. We probably butchered it.
And when I was doing this, it just reminded me of that TikTok video you showed me about German, like, you know, this word in this language, this word in this language, this word in German.
Yeah, everything just sounds really stern and strict.
Yep.
Even the happy words.
Yep. And like you said, this refers to a Berlin district. And I'm just going to assume that this is just Bowie's impressions of that area. Yeah. And especially like that sax at the end, it's almost like a foghorn of sorts. Well, yeah, I mean, not that literal, but yeah, it's just kind of like out there. Very atmospheric.
Yeah, I can see that.
I definitely like the instrumentals. I mean, it's kind of like, I guess that's the thing about instrumentals is like you can bring your own assumptions to them and not be wrong. That's what it makes you feel.
All right.
There are no wrong answers, everyone. Just wrong people.
All right, last track. The Secret Life of Arabia. Whatever secret Arabia had, it's now long gone. This song isn't really about Arabia, but about a woman Bowie finds mysterious. Maybe almost as mysterious as the land must have seemed to people who lived in the West and hadn't gotten to pillage the land yet for all the resources. Or maybe it's also one of these songs hyping up something that no longer exists. Like Bowie is hyping up this woman, and she's probably not as glamorous as he makes her out to be. As of today, according to Wikipedia. So if Wikipedia got this wrong, I'm sorry. But the area that used to be known collectively as Arabia now consists of Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Jordan, Iraq, Oman, Qatar, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, Yemen, and Bahrain, with Bahrain being on the archipelago of the Persian Gulf.
Archipelago?
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 Archipelago. My bad. If I mispronounced archipelago or archipelago, my apologies.
We'll accept either one.
Yeah, so that was the countries that Wikipedia listed. I mean, looking on the map, Iraq is more on the top. It's not surrounded by water. It's pretty landlocked. So I don't know if most of these I know are definitely considered part of what was once Arabia. I don't know if Wikipedia just threw in some border countries in there, but that was the list that they had. So if I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments. But what we do know for sure is it's definitely not the same place T.E. Lawrence once knew during the Arab Revolt. Anyways, I'm surprised this song was the closing track, because I would have this be, in terms of order, you have all the other songs, and then you would have Vitu Schneider, then you would have The Secret Life of Arabia, and then you would end with the instrumentals, and Moss Garden would be the closing one, just to kind of end things on a calm note, and just feel like nice and at peace, and like, that was a good album.
So yeah, we're back to music and words, and let me tell you, people are divided on this song.
About what it means?
No.
Oh.
Not about what it means.
About the subject?
Not about the subject even.
About what?
Well, people, like I said, people are divided. To them, it's either a tasteless mood killer after these atmospheric instrumentals, or it's a welcome respite from those instrumentals.
Oh, I see.
It's also looked on as like a trailer. David Bowie will return in Lodger, 1979.
It's kind of like in the Indiana Jones movies when they ride off into the sunset. Maybe that's what they're
kind of like the end of like, James Bond
will return
in The Living Daylights.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the way this song is, it kind of led into the sound of Lodger. And let me tell you, there are threads out there that just go on about this song. There's one on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
There's one, I wish I could remember the name of the site, but I just typed in the meaning of Secret Life of Arabia, and this page came up, and it was just people battling back and forth about this song. There are people who absolutely love it, and people who absolutely hate it.
People fighting on the internet? What a shocker.
I know. I mean, for me, it's kind of a goofy song. And,
really?
But it's funky, yeah, because, I mean, just the background vocals, secret, 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 secret. I mean, it's kind of like taking the title of the song literally. Never, never, secret, secret. It's like, and I think Anthony Amas's background vocals just make this song even goofier. And the thing is, this was the 70s, and how this song was not a hit is beyond me, because
people were high on everything. And
this song could have been played everywhere. It would have worked. But I kind of liked it. I mean, it is a shock. It's very abrupt, and maybe that was intentional on Bowie's part, where it's like, hey, you know what? Let's just go out singing. Secret, secret.
Never knew.
And dancing.
Yay!
Yay!
So, basically, if you like things to end on a crazy fun note, you're going to like this. If you don't, then, maybe listen to the album in a different order.
There are people, there are arguments about where should this song have fallen. It should have been on side one. This other song should have been on side two instead.
Online, I mean, specifically on Spotify, if you were to put this on a playlist, you can move around the tracks on playlists in the order that you want them to play. So, hey, you can create your own custom version of Heroes where it follows the pattern that you want to listen to. So if you always want to do that, hey, you have the technology now.
And there are people who are just like, this should not even be on the album at all. It should be wiped off. Just, proceed to Lodger and stay there.
And Bowie's like, la, 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 can't hear you over my money.
Well, the thing was, I mean, after this album, he did Peter and the Wolf.
Yes, I know.
And then he did, I believe it was Stage. It was a live set that came out that just keeps getting expanded each time it's remastered. So those came out in 78, and then he did Lodger in 79.
All right, so overall, Heroes surprised me in a good way. I thought this one would be more rock compared to Low and Lodger, which I haven't listened to yet, but maybe we will. I don't know. Do you have Low and Lodger?
No, I do not.
Okay,
but
so
you can listen
I'll
to
listen to them on my own time, yeah. I enjoyed the instrumentals more than I thought I would, too. Then again, I shouldn't be surprised at how surprised I was, since Bowie was always a chameleon and nobody knew what he would do next. I only picked one other song, Beating the Beast, for my Bowie playlist because I already had Heroes on there, but I definitely revisit Moss Garden when I need some quiet time, playing softly and having fun, as Sesame Street would say. Like, well, just like if I need to meditate or something, I always have like some ambiance music on in the background. Yep.
With your guest star, Daphne Rubin Vega from the hit Broadway show Rent.
And David Bowie.
That's all I can remember, because you watched that a lot.
I like Daphne Rubin Vega, and I still do. Anyway, so as for Heroes, give this album a visit if you haven't already. I think you'll like it a lot more than you expect. Unless you're one of those people who's disappointed by Secret Life of Arabia at the end.
Secret. But people, you have to hear this song to believe it.
Yes. All right. Your thoughts.
I have not listened to this album in a long, long time.
Hey, do it for the show.
But when I did, I forgot how great it was.
Yeah.
And it's my favorite album by the guy.
Oh, good choice.
I'm sure it probably is his too, maybe.
Well, we can't ask him anymore.
But there are some people who say, hey, what's your favorite album? The last one that I made. Or the one that I'm working on now. Or my next one.
No, I think Bowie would give you a concrete answer.
And I think it might be time for me to get the remaster at some point.
Well, now that Parlophone's fixed it anyway.
Well, I mean, I've never even found theirs. I mean, the one I've always seen is the Virgin one, which I have the Let's Dance remaster.
The one I have on Spotify, what remaster? Oh, the one on Spotify is the 2017 remaster.
That's the one.
And it sounded pretty good.
That's the one that they had to go back and correct the correction.
It sounded fine. If Heroes had been sped up, I would have known, so, because I listen to that song a lot.
But yeah, if you get a chance, listen to this album or own it. Hope you like it. Like I said, it's probably my favorite album by him, easily.
My favorite is probably Let's Dance. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, as always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz. If you want the episodes from my social media, please follow me on my social media accounts. And if you want the episodes from my dad, email him, and he can email the episode right to your inbox.
Because I do not have social media accounts.
All right, thank you for listening to another installment of My Dad Listens to This. We'll be back next time with another album to nitpick and gripe about. Dad, anything you want to say before we log off?
Secret.
And happy Mother's Day.